People Call Me Crazy by Carrie Paulson. Adapted from Scholastic Action Magazine. May 2020. People call me crazy. I call it having a sense of adventure. But it hasn't always been that way. Part 1. I was nervous the moment I stepped off the bus at Camp Lakewood. The air was hot, but I was filled with icy cold terror. Mom and Dad had signed me up for Camp Lakewood, even though it was the last place I wanted to spend my summer. It wasn't that I didn't like the outdoors. It's just that I hated water. And Camp Lakewood was nothing but water. Not only was the camp next to a lake, but there was also a river running through it. All the activities seemed to be swimming or water skiing or sailing, which is why on the third day of camp, I found myself on a hike. It was on dry land, and that was all I cared about. About 20 of us campers started out in the afternoon. Right away, we came to a bridge over the river. Before crossing, our counselor, Bobby, pointed down at the water. "Remember, the river is off limits without a counselor," he said. "The current is surprisingly strong." I hung back, watching the others cross the bridge. "Thatcher?" This guy Richie from my cabin had turned around. "Come on," he said, walking back toward me. I focused on the trees up ahead as we walked over the bridge together. I felt like I was going to throw up with every step. Part 2. As the day went on, Richie and I found ourselves falling behind the others. "Hold up," Richie said finally, his face watermelon red from the exertion. He pulled out his water bottle and took a drink. "So what was up with you in the bridge?" Richie asked after a few moments. He sat down on a rock to take a rest. I shrugged. "It's just..." I used to love the water, but then what? He asked. I took a deep breath. A few summers ago, my older brother's friends dared me to swim underneath this floating raft. It was dark, and I'd never done it before. I got tangled up in the anchor chain underwater and kind of freaked out. My older brother had to jump in and save me. Richie nodded in a way that made me feel like maybe I wasn't such a loser. After that, I just couldn't go in the water anymore. Honestly, I think my parents picked Camp Lakewood to help me get over it. Part 3. Suddenly, Richie jumped up. "Where's the group?" I looked up the path. We must have lost track of time because everyone was gone. "They can't be that far," I said. We hurried ahead until we came to a fork in the trail. Richie and I looked at each other. "I think the ground looks more trampled to the right," I said. Richie nodded and we headed that way. Minutes went by. Or was it hours? Everything looked the same. The bushes, the trees, and the bends in the trail. "I think we picked the wrong direction," Richie said. So we turned around and went back until we came to another fork, a different one. Neither of us remembered seeing it before. We stood there, frustrated and confused. "I think we need to keep going left to retrace our steps," I said. "You were wrong the last time," Richie snapped. Then he pulled out his water bottle, only to find it was empty.